Hi, this is Brad with Baker County Trash Pickup. Today is July 31st, 2025. It's not a trash pickup day, but I do have to go pick up 8 trash cans from 6 canceled customers. One of them said, pause the service, they'll start it again later. The other is someone who said that a few months ago, and I don't think they're gonna start it back based on the conversation I had. And the other 4, is that right? 6 people, 4, yeah. The other 4 are non-pays who I haven't heard anything from in a month, in some cases 2 months. So we're gonna go get those cans back, and in today's video I'm gonna talk to you about how I handle non-paying customers in our weekly trash pickup business. I believe the first thing that'll be helpful is to talk a little bit about the way we handle payments, and then late fees, and then late pay customers. All of our billing is done automatically with Jobber, which is our CRM, the software that we use to run the business. We require a card, either a debit or credit card or a bank account on file. It gets processed automatically, a monthly invoice, on the last day of the month for the next month's services. So for example, on June 30th, we bill for July. On July 31st, we bill for August. That way we're never behind getting paid for the services that we render. I'm in a mom and pop garbage company Facebook group, and I've seen that a lot of folks, they bill at the end of the month, and then they might have a 15-day grace period. So by the time that they are behind, or their clients are behind rather, they might have already given 6 weeks of pickup service. That's not something I want to do, so that's why we bill ahead rather than bill behind. As far as when something is late, the expectation is that it's due at the end of the month, and after that it's late. We do have a late fee, but it's not really concrete. So if somebody says, hey, I'm so sorry, I had some fraud, so I had a new card and I completely forgot to update you, we'll waive the fee. If it's the first time they've had a bill since they joined us, we'll do an initial bill, but everybody who signs up gets a free month. So it could be 2 months since they've thought about billing for the trash company. That's another situation where we will waive that late fee. If somebody comes to me and says, hey, listen, times are a little bit rough right now, I should have it in the next week, is it possible to work with me? Absolutely, I will, and that's another time we'll waive that late fee and we'll just bill it manually later. Now, the reason I have a late fee is because I found out at the beginning when I didn't have one, if you don't have a late fee, there is no impetus, there is no motivation for folks who get behind to get caught up. If you don't stop service for late paying customers, there's no reason for them to get caught up. So early on, I learned that saying, hey, the bill is due this date, but we don't have late fees, and we're still going to pick up your trash if you're late, that doesn't work. So we've modified what we've done since we've started the business to be, it's due on the last day of the month. If it's not paid on the last day of the month, it's considered late. We will absolutely give everybody 1 courtesy pickup. Jobber processes those invoices at 9 p.m. at night. So if it's due the last day of the month and we have a pickup on the first of the month, people are going to be asleep and they might not even wake up before we start working and they realize that there's a late fee. So that's why we give everybody 1 courtesy pickup. After that courtesy pickup, we pause your service until you're paid current. Okay, so that's we're sitting at 14 minutes. So that's 14 minutes of unpaid labor that you'd have to account for if you were doing this in your business. And here's all the bags. You saw me lifting them, so they're not too heavy. We used 2 of these contractor bags. I don't know what they are. I get them from Costco. They're somewhere around 30 cents a piece, maybe. That's my guess. And these 96-gallon liners are 75 cents a piece. So that's about $2 in bags. $2 in materials there used. So, whatever your hourly rate is, times 1/4 for your unpaid labor. We've got another 2 liners. That's to unfortunately, this trash wasn't really frequently bagged, so they're very messy. So this helps keep those cans a little bit cleaner. Gives me a little bit more flexibility in how I want to clean them. If I stacked them that way without the liners, I'd have to clean them immediately. This buys me a little bit of time. Now we're off to the next one. Now that may seem strict to some folks, but what I've learned is that you can either run a business or the business can run you. We've made decisions to do things that limit the friction and stress on our side of things. I don't feel like it's unreasonable to ask that one time a month we get paid on time when we show up 4 times a month to regularly pick, your trash up. If you can depend on us for regular service for your trash pickups, I think it's fair that I expect regular and reliable payment from you as a customer once a month. If you feel like that is unreasonable, completely understand. Everybody's got their own viewpoints, but that's the way we are running this business. And I got to tell you, it makes for a much less stressful environment when I know what the situation is for late payments and it's easily and clearly communicated to customers. Okay, so that one's only taken 4 minutes and we only used 1 bag. Had to spend a little time knocking all the cockroaches out, but there wasn't much trash in there at all. So that one was pretty easy. Let's just look over everything one last time, make sure we didn't leave any trash, and I think we're good. So that's our policy on billing, on late payments, on pausing service. Now I'm going to talk to you about the steps that we take to let our customers know, and when will we actually just go pick our cans back up for people who don't pay. And to do that, we're going in our Jobber software. This is the software we use to run our business. As always, anytime I talk about it, you can find links to a free trial and a discount in the description. But this is a big part of making sure that our business stays current on bills and that customers know what's going on. I have redacted the customer's information here, but we're going to go through and show you all the different steps we take for late payments, for non-payments. Now, this is the first line I want you to look at. This is sent on July 1st. As soon as an invoice does not process correctly, I manually send the folks a message and say, listen, your invoice did not process. Jobber lets me see when messages were sent, and most importantly, it lets me know when messages were opened. Being able to know when a client opened an email is a big part of whether or not we're going to pick their can up or whether we're going to cut them some slack when it comes to billing. So for this instance, this customer opened up this email that said card on file that I sent July 1st, and they opened July 1st. If we look at the communication itself, we can see I sent it 2 in the afternoon on July 1st. It was opened immediately, and it's just a message that says, unfortunately, the card on file declined and wouldn't process. Please let me know when we can rerun it, or if you need to store a new card on file. So now I know, the client knows that they are behind. A few days later on July 6th, I send another message that again they opened on July 6th. This one was sent at 7 in the morning and it was opened by the customer at 7 in the morning. This one says, a quick reminder, there's an outstanding invoice as the card on file declined while attempting to pay for July services. After one courtesy pickup, you remember I told you guys about that. For Tuesday pickups, this was 7-1. For Monday pickups, this will be 7-7. Your service will be paused. Please let me know when we can rerun the card or if you need a link to store a new card on file to avoid any delays in your pickup. So now this is the second notice in less than a week. Hey, we need to get a card on file. We need to get a payment. Your service is going to be paused after your one courtesy pickup. And again, this message was seen by the customer. Now July 10th, we're sending another message, touching base regarding your trash pickup service. This one wasn't open until July 16th, but it was opened eventually, 3:44 in the afternoon on July 14th. This is another message. As a reminder, your trash service is currently paused. Please let me know when we can rerun your card for July's invoice, or if you need a link to store a new card on file. I'm hoping to get you current as soon as possible so we can pick up for you this coming week. July 17th, a week after my previous message, reaching out to check in about your trash pickup service. On July 17th, we can see we sent it 6:25 in the morning. It was opened at 7:16. Good morning. Wanted to quickly write and see what your plans for regarding your trash pickup since we haven't heard from you yet. As a reminder, your service is currently paused. Please let me know when we can rerun the card, or if you need a link to store a new card, or if you are planning on canceling the service. After no response and pause service, we send one more message on July 29th, last chance for trash pickup. This one doesn't look like it was ever opened. We sent a text message from our business software. That one we can't see if it was read. We can only see if it was sent or if it failed delivery. This message says, hey, your account's over 30 days overdue. We haven't heard from you. If you'd like your trash picked up today, you still have a few hours to get your past due invoice current before we come by your residence. If you don't want to continue trash service, make sure your can is empty by 7:31 for us to collect. We pick up the cans in a work truck, not the garbage truck, so we are unable to bring any trash in the cans with us. No other action is needed on your part. So this is kind of the Hail Mary. We're saying this is the time to get off the ladder or paint, because we're coming to get your can in just a few days since we haven't heard from you in a month. In addition to all these messages that were sent with Jobber, I text them from my business cell phone, and then I also email them from my Gmail account. So someone whose cans we are picking up is not somebody who is a few days late and we're saying, oh, your payment's due on the last day of the month and it's the 3rd, so we're coming to pick your can up. These are folks who we have been trying to talk to for a month in some cases, and we have not received any response. We know that they're getting our messages and they're just actively ignoring us. Now, one thing I want to make sure and state is that there's no judgment on my part for why someone is ignoring or why someone is not paying. There are things going on I may not know about that this is the most difficult part of their life that they are going through. So it may be easy to sit back and say, wow, somebody's not paying $36 for trash pickup. What's wrong with them? But again, who knows what these folks are going through? So no judgment on my end for why someone isn't paying. But on the other hand, I am running a business. It's a business that my family depends on for me to be able to pay our bills. And it's completely unacceptable for somebody to agree to pay for a service once a month, for us to go out and show up every single week, and then for us to be ignored for an entire month when it comes to us getting what we agreed for. We're not asking for anything crazy, right? All we're asking is to be paid for the amount and for the services that were agreed upon, that the customer said, yes, we agree. And so all those things together, the fact that Jobber lets us see that somebody is indeed receiving our messages, when they've got 5 messages that are opened, the odds that they are missing messages or maybe somebody else is on the computer other than them, every time we have another open message, that becomes less and less likely. When their trash hasn't been picked up for 2 or 3 weeks and they aren't reaching out to us saying, hey, what's going on? I don't know, why the trash isn't being picked up. That indicates they probably know that they're behind. And I completely understand. If somebody came to me and said, listen, Brad, it's a really rough month. Can we have a little leeway?
All right, and there's our neatly bagged trash.
I've done that several times for folks who communicate with me, but we've just got to have the communication. And while I don't think that people view it as disrespecting someone to, ignore communication with them, like if Comcast, for instance, was trying to get a hold of me and I ignored their calls, I wouldn't say, oh man, I'm hurting somebody's feelings, or yeah, I hate Comcast, so I'm ignoring them. I just didn't want to deal with it, right? So when people are not responding to our messages, I really doubt it's because they think badly of us or because they want to insult us or anything like that. They probably just don't care about it at that point in time. So it's not that I would say I'm offended or upset or bothered that they aren't responding. It's just simply unacceptable for a business relationship to work that way, especially when it's something where we're holding up our end and showing up every week. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for a monthly payment on time, or if it's going to be behind, some type of communication or response letting us know, what's going on. All we need is an update. If we can have some communication, then we can have a discussion about what comes next. But if you're just going to ignore us for a month, we can't let our cans sit out indefinitely. That's not good business. And I don't feel like it's fair to paying customers to allow people to have 2, 3, 4, 5 months of pause service, because that's simply not how we want to run our business.
All right, there's our neatly bagged trash.
I can imagine there would be some people who think the idea of me packing up the trash and leaving it on the client's property is not okay. I don't know what words they would use to describe it. That's going to depend on the person. These are people who I have sent, in most cases, close to a dozen messages across 2 cell phone numbers, text messaging, and across 2 email addresses, sending emails. It's been communication that I know for a fact has been opened and received and is just being ignored for at least a month. And in that case, I don't think it's unfair for me to say, listen, you pay for a trash pickup company to come get your trash. If you're not paying, you really shouldn't have the expectation that the can is going to sit there forever. And you definitely shouldn't have the expectation that we're going to take your trash away if you haven't paid us for that service.
I think we're already at 95. It's not even 11:30 yet. Actually, maybe it is. It's 11:40. Not that any of you would have thought owning a lawn care company was glamorous. Okay, you see what the sun's doing to me? Not that any of you would have thought owning a trash pickup company is glamorous. This is one of the things you don't think about having to do that really has to be done in order for the business to operate.
For me, bagging the trash up neatly, securely, in big, sturdy, thick bags and leaving it on the property so I can come collect my can, that is a completely reasonable thing for me. And again, if you don't think it is, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just saying I'm completely content in the process for non-pay or late pay that we have right now. As with anything in the business, it'll continue to change, it'll continue to evolve, but this is the current process we have. And yeah, if you ignore me for a month and I know you're getting the messages, I think it's only fair that I come back and take the can so I can turn around and give it to another paying customer. I'd love to hear your feedback though. Let me know in the comments what you think about the process that we currently have.
All right, there we go, a full load of 8 cans. Cancellations or non-pays. I'm glad nobody else canceled or didn't pay because I wouldn't have had room. Here's our neatly bagged trash. So there you go. If you're gonna have a trash pickup business, at some point you're gonna have to pick up non-pay cans. That is my approach to it. If you've got any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. But honestly, the best way to get a hold of me is shooting me an email. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.